Hey there, you're listening to the Girls Talking Life podcast, and I'm your host, Johanna. If you're like me, you love time with friends. I always leave feeling encouraged, inspired to try something different, or I've learned something new. So why not continue to grow even when we can't be with our girlfriends? We're not made to do life on our own, so in each episode of this show, I'll bring you a girl and her story to give you refreshing ideas to stir your soul. Let's walk this road together. Are you ready to talk life? Welcome to the show. I am so glad that you chose to spend some time here. We are wrapping up a series on women's wellness today. I've talked with Julie Hodson, a health coach, life coach, and author, about physical wellness, and we focused on food and movement. I've also had a conversation with Nicole Zasowski, who is a marriage and family therapist, and we dug into emotional and relational health. If you haven't listened to those episodes, I encourage you to go back and hear what those fantastic women had to say about wellness. Today I'm talking with Jessica Hodson, and we chat about eliminating harmful toxins from our lives. Jessica explains that there are toxic chemicals lurking in the things that we use every day. Our personal care products like deodorant, lotion, and in our cleaning products. We talk about reading labels, ingredient lists, and how overwhelming it can be to know what's really healthy for you and safe and what's not. Jessica talks about greenwashing, and she gives us some steps to take in order to make some changes and bring healthier products into our homes. I really enjoyed learning more about this topic from Jessica, and I think you will too. Jessica, thank you so much for joining me on Girls Talking Life today.
Thanks for having me. I'm so excited.
I want to just start out by having you tell us where you're from and who's in your family, and then what a normal day might look like for you.
Well, I live in Sunbury, Ohio, so I'm just north of Columbus, Ohio. I live in a home with my husband, who I've been married to for almost 13 years.
Nice.
We have 3 little girls. So my oldest just turned 9 this weekend, and then the next one shortly here will be 7, and then I have a 1-year-old. And I forget what else you asked me.
Just what a normal day looks like for you.
Yeah, so a normal day for me is staying home with the kiddos. I get the older 2 up and out the door onto the bus and to school all day. And then I stay home with my little one. I also work from home, so I have the luxury of creating my own schedule and being able to work, inside my home with my family, with my daughter. My husband works a full-time job outside of the house, so he's gone a typical Monday through Friday, 8 to 5-ish. And on the weekends, we spend lots of family time together. And this past year has been a little different because it's been life with a newborn and spending that first year of life kind of, in that stage.
Right. Remind me, your husband is Joe, is that correct?
His name is Joe. Yep.
Joe. Yeah, my husband too. That's what I thought.
Oh, yeah.
So you had your second daughter, and then you kind of thought, that's it for us. Our family is complete. But as you mentioned, you also have a 1-year-old. So what happened there between you kind of making the decision that you're all done with kids and then going on to have a third baby?
Yeah, of course. There's always a story, I guess, when there's a 6-year gap. And there is. So, right. We had 2 daughters, and I felt like our family was complete. It was not an easy journey to having those 2 kids, to our first 2 kids. We struggled with infertility for years, and we went through, some testing, and my hormone levels were just never quite right. They were just kind of all over the map. We went through a lot. It was an extremely difficult season. And then the Lord blessed us with 2 girls who are just 2 years apart. And I felt like our family was complete. My husband, on the other hand, always wanted a 3rd child. And I just kept saying, nope, I think we're good. And he kind of jokes, and he would always make reference to the 3rd child that we were going to have eventually. And I was always like, I don't know what you're talking about, but okay. And I finally came to a realization, a lot of our life changed between the first 2 kids. My eyes were really opened up to making different choices in our home, what we were bringing into our home, putting on our bodies, the type of food we were eating, all leading toward just more health and more wellness in our lives. And through the course of those years between the second and third kid, I came to the realization that a big part of why I didn't want to have a third child was the fear of going back to that place of infertility. And anyone who has gone through that season or is going through that season knows that it's a very devastating and difficult place to be.
Absolutely.
And so I sort of lived with that fear in the back of my mind and convinced myself, no, we're good with just 2 kids. But then all that changed, obviously. So, I think the Lord just kept working on me. And once I realized that was what was stopping me, I talked to my husband and I said, I'm willing to go ahead and give this a try. I don't know that I can do it month after month and go, if it's not working, but let's just agree that we'll give it one shot. And we did, and we have a 3rd child. So it was a huge, huge blessing. And we both attribute that to God. He's the creator of life. And so we believe wholeheartedly that, he gave us this child. We also believe that a lot of the decisions and the changes that we made in our home played a large role in that as well.
You have called her publicly your change of heart baby. That's so sweet.
Yes.
You had her in late 2017, and then 2018 you have expressed was a really challenging year for you.
It was. My change of heart baby is a humongous blessing, and I could never imagine my life without her. She truly has completed our family, but that doesn't mean it's been easy. This past year has been probably the most challenging year of my adult life. I had to come face to face with the reality that I have been dealing with a lot of postpartum depression and mostly anxiety. Mm-hmm. I didn't realize that's what it was. So she was born November of 2017. And the first 6 months of her life, I sunk kind of lower and lower and lower, not realizing what was going on.
This wasn't something you had experienced with the other two.
It was nothing. No, not at all. This has been so radically different. Yeah. So I didn't really understand. I kept asking myself, why is this so hard? Like, it wasn't like this when I had the first one. Even when I had my first child, when she was 6 months old, I started babysitting another child. So I always had two kids, 2 babies. And then I had my second baby. And so the 2 of them, my first 2 together, we were out and about on the town every day. We were just go, go, go. I had energy. It wasn't to say things were perfect, but things flowed. And then baby number 3 came and it hit me hard. And I started kind of, I don't want to say blaming, but I started sort of, I don't know, the hard seemed like it was her. Like, she was the hard thing. She was a hard baby. She has a dairy intolerance. She wasn't sleeping well. She was just this unpredictable child that I felt like I couldn't get a handle on. And it all kind of culminated up to me planning her first birthday and hitting a huge wall and just realizing that I was paralyzed, and then started reflecting on the past year and realizing that I had spent a year growing more and more paralyzed. It became so difficult for me to do just everyday basic tasks like brushing my teeth, getting dressed, days and days on end where I just never left the house and rarely saw anybody. I was dealing with all kinds of anxiety.
Looking back, you were just able to say, wow, this is not just because I have some challenges with this little girl. It's more.
Right. Yes. This is not her. This is something that I'm dealing with, and it's something I can't control. And yeah, the anxiety is what really hit me hard. I was having lots of visions of her dying, and that was, from the day, she was born. It was giving me a fear of driving. I was fearing going up and down the steps. And the first person to ever say something to me was actually my chiropractor. I had mentioned just casually when he asked me how I was doing at one of my appointments, and I said something about being afraid to drive and having these fears that we were going to die. And he was like, that's postpartum. And I was like, what? Who? Wait, me? What are you saying? It was just like the first time that someone had used those words with me. And I started doing some research and realizing that so much of what I was reading was describing what I was feeling, and internally what I was dealing with, life feeling, small tasks feeling very insurmountable. So that all kind of culminated as I was planning her first birthday party. And the first step that I took was verbalizing that to my husband, to my mom, and to just a couple of my really close friends.
What were the reactions of the people that you shared that with?
Oh my gosh, nothing but love and understanding. It was incredible. There's an element of, I don't know, shame and embarrassment that kind of goes with that, which when you think of it from a logic standpoint, you're like, why would you feel ashamed or embarrassed?
It shouldn't be that way, right?
Right. But it does something to you and you feel that way. And so I think I was nervous. I was afraid that I was going to, get the whole, oh, you're fine, just rise above it. You just do it. You got to be a mom. You got to deal with the kids. You just got to rise above it, And yeah, it wasn't like that at all. So yeah, so it was received really well. And, my mom and my husband have been really, really helpful with just helping me to verbally process through things. And then I sought medical help and started looking into how can I take small steps and take the most natural steps and shifting some things in my environment to help with it.
And how long have you been on that journey? Her birthday was, the end of 2018.
Yeah, her birthday was in November, and I made an appointment for a brand new doctor soon after that. And I was able to talk through some things, learn about what all this means, starting with some natural and environmental changes that I could make on an everyday basis to see if those things would help me kind of step out of this one step at a time. And so I have found a lot of help with that. Yeah.
Wonderful. Do you feel, is there maybe just a light at the end of the tunnel?
There's definitely a light at the end of the tunnel. I have definitely seen some changes, but also it's a journey. So I haven't arrived at some point, that's life, right?
Right.
And so I'm a work in progress, but I think one, verbalizing what's going on, speaking truth over my fears. I found out that I did have some, vitamin deficiencies and things like that. And so being able to find some supplements and change a little bit of eating habits, also bringing exercise back into my life. That was something that paralyzed me, and just taking small steps and realizing that every small step adds up and can have a huge impact. So those are some big things that I've incorporated and that I've actually seen some significant change through.
I love that. I was listening to something and they were talking about a rock, and you feel like you're hammering away at a boulder and nothing is happening. But when it finally does break apart, which stroke was the one that broke the rock? And the answer is all of them. So all those tiny little steps that you take, are moving you forward to your goal. So that's great. I'm so glad
that is a great picture. I love that.
I'm so glad that you're in that place now.
Thank you.
You mentioned bringing things into your home that were more healthful for your family. And that actually brings me to why I have invited you here today. I met you probably 5 or 6 years ago, and you were sharing your message then about non-toxic products.
Yeah.
Can we shift gears just a little bit and have you just kind of explain what that was all about?
Absolutely. So as you mentioned, it was just about 5 years ago, and that was when my second child was just over a year old. So this is what I do for a living. I educate and empower families to eliminate toxins from their everyday life and to live well. And so that's a huge part of those changes that I made in between child number 2 and child number 3. The thing that got me started in that actually has to do with my kids as well. So when my second child was a year old, she was one of those babies that was born with like the baby acne, the cradle cap. She had eczema on her face and her arms and her legs. And so, I had talked to the pediatrician about all of those things. And by the time she was a year old is when they essentially diagnosed your child with eczema kind of for the long haul. Mm-hmm. And so leaving her 1-year appointment, which was almost 6 years ago now, I was handed a sheet from my pediatrician from the American Pediatric Association, basically saying, here are some soaps and lotions, to use on her eczema skin. And here's a steroid topical treatment that you can use. And I left that doctor's appointment feeling a little frustrated, feeling like there had to be more of an answer or a solution for her. And so in kind of that season of me trying to figure out, what can I do to help my baby find relief and not kind of just be okay with her having this issue for the rest of her life, someone started sharing with me about toxic chemicals found in everyday products that we use, personal care products, home cleaning products, and how there's little to no regulation over that industry here in the US. And they introduced me to this little tube of cream called a Dream Cream. And I used it on my baby, and, they were all ingredients that I could read and pronounce, most of them organic, botanicals, and I put it on her eczema over a course of a weekend. And for the first time in her life, all of her eczema flare-ups basically healed. And I was so happy as a mother that I had found something to bring healing and relief to my baby. And I could do it without compromise. I could do it with a product that was natural, from the earth, ingredients that I recognized. And I started doing research. And that's kind of what started my whole journey to changing over so many things in my home and in our lives.
I love that cream, by the way. That's one of my favorite products, Dream Cream.
Yes.
And how wonderful to find something that isn't the, topical steroid cream or any one of the number of prescriptions that they might have recommended for you. So I love that.
Right.
Talk to me about the ingredients in our products.
Yeah. So I just have to give you a little bit of background. I was somebody who came into that so unaware of ingredients. I never had read a label in my life. I had never read a food label. I had never taken time to read any label on my personal care products. I was so not environmentally friendly that I didn't even see the value in recycling, let alone taking inventory of what I was bringing into my home and putting on my skin. A big issue, or a big trigger for me was when someone told me, our skin is our body's largest organ. And so it really is important what we put on it. We have to learn to read labels because there's not regulation over this industry. It's so important that we become empowered as people, as women, as mothers and parents, to advocate for the health and wellness of our family. So looking at a label, there's a couple of red flags I always tell people right from the get-go. If you have a product, look for the label, look for the ingredient label. And if you can't find the ingredients on the product, that's typically a big red flag.
Yes.
You want full disclosure. You want to know what it is that you're bringing into your home, putting on your skin, exposing your family to. Another red flag is if you see a lot of undisclosed ingredients like fragrance or proprietary blends. These are words that the industry can use to hide dozens, if not hundreds, of different chemicals and just call them fragrance. But then you don't know what the ingredients are. That label suddenly turns from a product with 30 ingredients to a product with, 200 ingredients. And you have no idea as a consumer what that is. So just that initial first step of saying, you know what, I want to learn to read a label. Now, the hard part comes in when you realize how overwhelming that becomes. And so that's why I do what I do. I try, my best to help make an overwhelming task become very simple and give people just a very easy step-by-step process to learn how to read a label, recognize the ingredients you want to avoid, and shop wisely.
That is so overwhelming. If you think about all the things in your home that you might put on or use in a given day, to know all the labels and everything. I would say when my first daughter was born, that's when I kind of just took notice. What am I putting on? I know I didn't want to wear perfume. I was concerned about products, but I didn't have all this knowledge then. And I still, I'm still learning about all this. And I had a couple kind of bugs in my ear about, our products have all these ingredients and none of them, not all of them are safe. But it was really when I met you that I started kind of moving forward and replacing things in our home little by little.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Talk to me about greenwashing a little bit. I find it really confusing when products come across looking as though they're healthy, but then they're really not.
Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest issues that we're seeing right now on the market out there, on grocery store shelves, drugstore shelves, online, any place that you're buying products. It's becoming a really big popular thing to look for items that are more natural, which is great. The problem is there's really not a whole lot of regulation and laws around how companies can market their products. So they can put beautiful pictures of green leaves and oatmeal and, all these wonderful botanicals on the front of their bottle. They can claim on the front, right there where all the marketing is, right? The front of the bottle that we all look at and we rarely flip over. They can market the product as natural. They can even use the word organic. They can use non-toxic, safe, pure. I mean, all of those trigger words. But the real issue is, we always say you've got to look at the ingredients. That's where you're going to find out what the product is really all about. So greenwashing is a term used to describe a company who is basically making their product look safe, natural, and green. But when you look at the label, that's not what it is at all. And a lot of companies are taking steps, which again, it's tricky because it's good and it's bad. It's good because people are raising awareness. They want things like parabens and sulfates taken out of their products. But the problem is companies are capitalizing on that. And so they're taking the parabens out, right? But then they're just replacing it with another synthetic ingredient that's really no different until we figure that out. So it is really important to educate and know the difference when you're looking at the label, which, like you said, it's overwhelming and it can be hard.
You are an ambassador for Pure Haven, and your company is in the business of making it easy.
Yes.
Can you talk just a little bit about your company and how it works?
Yeah. So we want to make the consumer experience simple. We want to be a resource for people to live well, to be able to find products without compromise. So that is what really sets our company apart. We are doing something different than any other company by manufacturing a full line of products where we absolutely do not compromise. We are 100% free of toxins. So all of our products are made with nothing but natural ingredients, lots of botanicals, essential oils. We also, along with that, we do wellness workshops. We meet and gather in homes. We do one-on-one appointments with people, whatever is easiest, for the consumer, for the person who's wanting to learn more. We have some great resources on those beginning steps of how to read labels. We have a great list of what we consider the top 20 ingredients to avoid. So you can begin looking at the products that you use every day and kind of matching them up against that list. And then when it's time to replace those products, finding that safer solution, which we believe wholeheartedly is Pure Haven. I was somebody who right out of the get-go, when I learned all this information, I thought, well, I'll just go over to, the health food store down the road. They've got a whole aisle full of, natural personal care and home cleaning products.
Right.
And I took my list, my Pure Haven list that I was given, and I went into that health food store, and I started looking at products and realized right away, greenwashing, just like you said, all these products were marketed to be safe and non-toxic, but yet they still contained those big toxic synthetic ingredients that any other product would have in it, whether it was, quote, natural or not. So once I realized, Pure Haven was such a simple solution, such a great answer, it began to eliminate all of that shopping and label reading. And it was a safe place that I could come to find the products for my sweet baby who had the eczema. And I could find a baby wash for her that was safe, natural, use that dream cream on her flare-ups. And might I add that child is now getting ready to turn 7. And I immediately switched over to the Pure Haven products, and she has never had an eczema flare-up, ever, since that weekend that I changed over. So, seeing the benefits of that and knowing that Pure Haven truly is a safe solution. So yeah, does that answer your question?
It absolutely does. Thank you. Yeah. I use a variety of different products. A lot of them are Pure Haven, but I always know that when I go to order one of their products, I don't have to be concerned.
Right. Yes. I love that.
So tell me, what are a couple of your favorite products?
So, that's kind of a loaded question for me because I've been using the products for 6 years almost now. And I love them all. I mean, how do I pick? But if I have to, I will. So one of the big things, that dream cream, that has to be at the top of my list because of what it did for my family, because of what it does for so many families. It's an amazing versatile cream. It's our dream cream. It's an amazing versatile cream that can be used as a spot treatment from head to toe on anybody in the family, including your dogs. Okay. And it's great for rough patches, dry skin, eczema, people use it on eczema, dermatitis, psoriasis, anywhere that you've got that cracked, irritated skin. We use it even as a first aid cream with, rashes and cuts and scrapes and burns and all of that. So it's just such a versatile product made with, of course, ingredients that are all handpicked for their natural, beneficial properties. My second favorite that I would have to pick is our skincare bundle. I know it's actually 7 products, but it's packaged together with a very affordable price tag on it. It's 7 pieces. It's a full skincare line that is amazing for all skin types, and it has been revolutionary for my skin. I was somebody who had cystic acne in my 20s, and that left a lot of scarring and just very dry skin issues and still flare-ups every month. And switching over to this skincare line has, for me, it has truly healed my skin. I have found so much relief, and I'm able to truly feel like I put my best face forward as I approach turning 40.
I want to know about hyaluronic acid. Am I saying that correctly?
Hyaluronic acid, yes.
What is that about?
So that is an amazing skincare product that holds anti-aging and deeply hydrating properties. Our bottle of hyaluronic acid is an organic product with lots of botanicals. So when we're little, you know how you look at like a baby's skin, and a lot of times we'll say, oh, her skin was as soft as a baby's bottom, because their skin is so plump and just so healthy, so vibrant and very hydrated. And that's because naturally our bodies, when we're born, we produce hyaluronic acid and CoQ10, which are 2 big things that as we age, we start to taper off. When we go through high stress seasons of life, and as we get older, our body naturally makes less and less of those things. And so our hyaluronic acid is our day serum that you would incorporate into your skincare routine that would provide that hyaluronic acid to your skin. And what it does is it's able to hold like 1,000 times its weight in water. So when you put that hyaluronic acid on your skin and then you put our moisturizer over top of it, it's going to hold it in. It's really going to soak it in and give your skin just a beautiful hydration. It's going to hold and lock in that moisture, and it's going to fight then against those fine lines and wrinkles, kind of, quote, plumping up the skin like a baby's bottom.
That sounds amazing.
It is.
I'm going to need to add that one to my buy list for next time.
Absolutely. Yeah.
One more thing I wanted to talk about when we're talking about these non-toxic and natural products is you have to take care of them a little bit. The shelf life is a little bit different, and they might just need a little something. Can you talk about that for just a minute?
Yeah. So what you're speaking to is that with our products, because they are made with only natural ingredients, we manufacture them in our USDA certified organic facility in Rhode Island, and we manufacture them in small batches. So we go through a rigorous ingredient testing process so that every ingredient that comes into our facility is tested for purity and freshness. And then we create our products, and they really only sit in our facility for a matter of a few weeks, as opposed to conventional products that have synthetic preservative systems that allow them to sit on a store shelf for maybe 10 plus years. So there's a huge difference when you're looking at those ingredients. And so what happens is when you order products from me, from Pure Haven, they will come directly from our facility in Rhode Island. They ship door to door right to you, and they have a little bit of a shorter shelf life. So what you'll see on our bottles are 2 types of expiration dates, if you will. One is the unopened expiration date, which is typically 18 to 24 months. So you can buy something, keep it on your shelf. You don't have to worry about, opening it like within, a minute after you buy it. You can let it sit there. It's typically good for 18 to 24 months. Once you open the product, we have an open bottle expiration as well. So typically when you open one of our products, it averages that most of them are good for about 6 months, 4 to 6 months after opening them. And that again is because of it's what we call our fresh factor with those fresh, real ingredients. And then also because we're using those fresh ingredients and we're not using those synthetic preservative systems or synthetic sudsing agents or synthetic binding agents, you kind of have to maybe put a little bit of elbow grease into some of our products. Like the Dream Cream, for example, comes in a tube. And if it sits on a shelf for a while or on your bathroom counter, you might need to kind of shake and knead the bottle in between uses to get the oils and the butters mixed back up again. And again, that's just proof of the natural ingredients and that fresh factor.
Okay, thank you. I was thinking of the dream cream. I know that separates a little bit sometimes, and I just need to work it back together.
Yeah. Massage it out. Yep.
Yep. Okay, so Pure Haven, we love their products, but they don't sell everything that you need in your home. What are some other trusted brands or even just products that you like?
Oh, that's a great question. I'm going to be honest with you. I am not a very high maintenance person. And so realistically, I don't use any other products, personal care or home cleaning products other than Pure Haven. We do offer a huge range of products from skincare, body care, hair care for, kids, babies, men, pets, as well as home cleaning, essential oils, and all of that. So really my best advice is always this. It's all about the ingredients. And yes, you can absolutely find, just like you have found, other products out there that are not Pure Haven that do contain, a solid and non-compromising list of ingredients. But the thing I always caution people is that doesn't mean that the product you found makes the whole brand safe. So I always just encourage people, do some research, always read that ingredient label. And when you find something that meets that standard, don't be afraid to share it with other people so that they know hey, I found a great eyeliner, or I found a great, toilet bowl cleaner, or anything in between that.
Right. I love that. So I have a couple just products that I'm curious if you have something that you use. Maybe you don't use these, but how about nail polish?
Oh, that's a good question. So nail polish is like a whole thing in and of itself. I do my best to find at least a 5 free nail polish, which means it's free of the 5 most harmful chemicals. Nail polish is something that you're really not going to be able to find something that's completely safe. And if you do, it's not going to stay on your nails for very long. There are some like vegetable-based ones, but they rinse off pretty quickly. So for kids and stuff, there's some great alternatives. But I have used the Zoya brand as well as Mineral Fusion. Those are 2 nail polishes that I've purchased that you can find at a local health food store as well. So
okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So you mentioned getting ready to turn 40. I turn 40 in April. And I have noticed, I don't color my hair now, but I've noticed some grays.
Yeah.
How about hair color? Is there anything safe out there for us?
Yeah. So we dark hair girls, we got to stick together, right? Because I'm starting to see those gray wispies with you. I turn 40 next year. I'm getting ready to turn 39 here soon. And I have not ventured into the world of dyeing my hair. So I feel bad because I don't have like a specific answer for you. Part of my job is helping people eliminate toxins from their everyday life. And like we've already touched on, it can be overwhelming. So I truly live by the 80-20 rule. So the whole 80%, do the best you can do. And then you got that 20% where you say, you know what, there's just certain things that this is where I compromise. Nail polish for me is one of those. Yeah, I will go to a salon and have a mani-pedi. And is it toxin free? No. But it's one of my 80-20 things, right? It's in my 20. So I know a lot of gals who I'm in community with, the hair coloring, that's in their 20, So I know that there are some safer options out there, but unfortunately I don't know about those offhand because it's not something that I've experienced yet.
Okay. And I love that. 20%. You can relax. It doesn't have to be
right.
every single. That's so freeing.
It is. It really is. Nobody can do 100%.
I like that. Okay. So my last item is I saw a post where you were talking about this and you said pots and pans, the non-stick is not safe, which we've heard about this before, but you're saying,
right.
With the Teflon, but you're saying nothing is. Can you just speak real quickly about that one?
Yeah. So overhauling my kitchen was a huge priority for me. Once I realized of all of that non-stick and the plastics and the Teflon, how detrimental those are to our health. I talked about my struggle with infertility before getting pregnant. And that's where so many of those hormone disruptors sit in our homes, in our personal care products, and in our kitchen. In our kitchen gadgets and appliances and pots and pans and stuff. So overhauling my kitchen was a huge priority for me. Getting rid of pretty much everything non-stick. So even those alternatives to the Teflon, a lot of the research that I've done has led me to the conclusion that They're just, again, replacing one toxin with a similar ingredient, a similar, another similar kind of plastic or whatever that's equally as unsafe. It's just that, the research hasn't been done, outed on that yet. So for me, the first big thing was getting rid of all of my Tupperware, getting rid of all of the plastic that my kids eat off of, all of the Tupperware that I was storing food in, and switching all that over to glass. Then I got rid of all of my Teflon nonstick pots and pans and switched all that over to a nice basic stainless steel set. But the most of my cooking I do in my cast iron skillet, which I love more than anything in my whole kitchen. My cast iron skillet is like my BFF in my kitchen.
That's been on my list for a long time. I don't have one yet.
It's so, and they're really not that expensive. It's a minimal investment and the payout is huge. It actually infuses naturally iron into your food. So it helps boost even the natural minerals that your body needs. So it actually enhances your cooking, naturally helps to like season it and really get the best flavoring, especially from like meats and things like that. I love my cast iron skillet. Not only can you use it on the stove, but then you can take it right into the oven. So it makes cooking meat amazing.
Okay, wonderful. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
Okay, Jessica, you talked about ingredients and having some resources to educate people on what those ingredients are that they should look for. What are some other practical steps that people can take if they're just now kind of learning about this or if your information is new to them?
Yeah. One of the first things that comes to my mind always is reach out to me. That is what I do for a living, and it's born out of a passion, is to partner with people and be a resource. I'm on a journey. Like I said earlier, I have not arrived at some place in any area of my life where I'm, have it all together or have all the answers. I am always learning. But some of those first steps would be, reach out to me or, someone that who is on this journey and start a discussion. Have a partner, a friend, a person that you can dialogue about with, research together, find resources. Secondly, if you go to my website, we have a great resource on learning to read product labels. And for that to not be quite so overwhelming, what I recommend people to do is to get 3 products from your home that you use every day. Grab your facial cleanser, your deodorant, and then another product that you use regularly, maybe whether that's your shampoo, your toothpaste, a hand soap, laundry detergent. Grab those 3 products and look at that. Look at those ingredient labels next to our list of ingredients to avoid and start right there, because that's going to teach you and start to familiarize you with how to read labels. The first time I looked at a label, I was like, I don't even know what is happening. What is this? What am I seeing? I don't even know where to start. Yes. And so that's why we have that resource. So yeah, reaching out to someone, doing it in community, and just starting with those 3 basic products that you use every single day.
Another thing that I'm pretty sure I learned from you is you don't have to dump your whole medicine cabinet, your whole personal care product shelf at one time. You take one product at a time, find a replacement. As you run out of something, you just replace it with something better.
Right. Typically when I go do a workshop and, a gathering with women, and we start looking at ingredients and we start having the conversation and people begin to, become aware of this issue. And all of a sudden it's like, well, wait, I want to throw out everything. I want to buy the whole Pure Haven catalog, but I can't. And I'm like, girl, I know. Yes. I have been there. I am the same way. I started in the same place that you did. And so another way that Pure Haven makes it simple is we've recently put together 3 bundles of products that are a fantastic place to start. It takes that overwhelming, how do I overhaul everything, but I can't afford it mindset to, yes, I will take that. So one of those bundles is our skincare. It's the 7-piece bundle. It's a fabulous place to start if you want to start with skincare, overhauling, what you're using right there on your face, morning and night, day after day. The second bundle we have is called our lifestyle bundle. This is where most people start because it's a set of products that everyone in your house can use. It's got a smattering of a bunch of different products and different lines that we offer. So you've got shampoo, conditioner, you've got toothpaste and deodorant, you've got that dream cream that we talked about. lip balm, our comfort oil. You also have several cleaning items. And so it's something that you can it's like a one purchase box full of products that you can then bring into your home and replace a bunch of things, and everyone in your home can use them. So husband, wife, kiddos, whoever you have living in your home.
That sounds great. Thank you for suggesting that. Okay, so I want to move into our favorite 5 segment. Jessica, what are 5 things that you are reading, watching, wearing in your life right now?
Okay, this is so hard to only pick 5. When you asked me to think about that, and I know you share this on all of your podcasts, and I was like, I started making a list, and pretty soon I had like 30 things, and I'm like, no, narrow it down. So being a woman in business, I love to support other women in business. And also, I really do try to, live well on a daily basis by choosing the safest or more natural, options and alternatives that I can find. So with that being said, here are the 5 that I came up with today. Okay, this is just today. If you ask me tomorrow, it would be 5 more, right? The first thing is, I don't know if you can hear, but I'm a little under the weather. So 2 things that are just like top of my list every day. My diffuser. I have a Spa Vapor 2.0 diffuser. I just purchased on Amazon. I actually have several of them through my house. It is my favorite diffuser. It's extremely affordable, but it's very user-friendly. So there aren't like tons of parts and pieces to deal with. And I can use my essential oils, mix, any blends that I want to do. And being under the weather, it has been a huge helpful tool for me, being able to diffuse every night as I fall asleep. It's helpful. My kids have diffusers, and using kid-safe essential oils in their rooms as well. So my Spa Vapor 2.0, I love it.
I have one diffuser, but we're quickly finding that we are going to need some more. So I'm going to look at.
I'm like one for every room. That's just where we've landed.
Right.
Another big thing that I've been using a ton lately is elderberry syrup. And this is not just from, the grocery store, health food store. This is locally made from a local family farm, Elliott Family Farm. If you're local here, it's made with fresh Ohio grown elderberries as well as raw Ohio honey. And it has been a huge help in helping us feel good and fighting off cold and flu symptoms. And it's safe for my kids and for me as well. So we do a teaspoon of that every night before bed. And that has been a lifesaver. I've been living by my elderberry syrup in my diffuser.
That is so interesting. I have heard of that. I think I have a friend who uses it.
Yeah, it's really, honestly, there's so many studies and, that have shown what it can do in terms of fighting sickness. So it's a really great thing to have on hand.
All right. Good one. Thank you.
Another thing, you said something that possibly that I'm wearing. This will go down in history as like my all-time favorite, going from, mom walking around the house in my loungewear to going out the door and wanting to spruce up a bit. My Premier Designs Shine Bright studs are my favorite earrings on the planet. They will always be in my top 5. I can just tell you that right now. They are gorgeous. They look like huge diamonds, but they're super affordable. And I get to support, again, small business by purchasing them. And they're like one of my top things that I love to gift to people. And I wear them almost every single day. So I love my Shine Bright studs.
That's so funny. My request every year for any gift purchase from my husband is diamond earrings. And I still yet to have seen those diamond earrings. So maybe this will have to work as a substitute.
Right. One day. Another thing that I love is I have found this company online. I'm all about reducing my toxic exposure, and clothing is another big area of shopping for safer and more environmentally sustainable products. And I don't know if you've ever heard of the brand called Packed Organic. It's an organic cotton clothing company. It's all online, but I have fallen in love with their leggings. They're high quality, they're durable, they come in different colors, and they're soft, and I wear them all the time. So I'm living in my leggings too. And then the last thing, I just realized I'm really painting the picture like I am just this like really cozy stay-at-home person, but the other thing that I have just been wearing nonstop, supporting another small business, if you've ever heard of the company Zaya, It's kind of an active wear, athleisure wear type clothing. It's a direct sales business, so we get to support those entrepreneurs. But the Oh So Soft sweatshirt is rocking my world. So here I am with my diffuser going and my beautiful diamond stud earrings while I wear my organic leggings and my Oh So Soft sweatshirt. I'm rocking life. That's what's happening.
It sounds like you are amazingly comfortable, is what it sounds like.
Yeah. That's the truth.
Thank you for sharing those. I love them all, and I'm going to look them up. Where can people find you online if they wanted to connect with you?
Yes. So I have a website. It is purebyjessica.com. And that is the website that goes directly to my Pure Haven homepage, where you can find some great health information. And you can also find all the information on the products that we mentioned today. And then I'm also on Facebook. I actually have a business page, which is just a public page where I share tons of product testimonials. And that is, I'll have to give you the link to that one. It's Jessica Hodson, Pure Haven Ambassador is what it's called. And then I also have a private group. It's more of just kind of cultivating a community of, living well, where we talk more about like all the different types of things in our lives that we can find safer and more toxin-free alternatives to personal care products, but also all those other things as well.
Well, Jessica, you have been a wealth of knowledge. I so appreciate you sharing all your expertise. And I also appreciate you openly sharing about what's been going on in your life. You are still in the midst of it, so it's not always easy to just put that out there when everything isn't back to normal per se. So right. I really
it
appreciate
is.
that.
Thank you.
Any last tips or guidelines for us before we end the show?
Well, I just want to thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it. It's been wonderful to partner with you. And, I really am passionate about what I do. And it's born from a desire to provide a safe and healthy home for my kids, for their future, so that if I can eliminate, any of those hardships that I've gone through, be able to eliminate, them from having to go through that. I'm really passionate about advocating for the next generation, just in this whole arena of eliminating toxins. And so I thank you for giving me yet another platform to share that. I love talking to people about this subject. I do in-home gatherings, one-on-one meetings. I do all kind of Facebook, educational type events. So if anybody is ever interested in learning more and continuing the conversation, I really do encourage you to please reach out to me. And I would love to connect with you, no matter how near or far, anybody is. I would love to connect and continue the conversation.
Okay, that sounds great. Jessica, I just appreciate your enthusiasm and your willingness to share all this. Thanks so much for coming on. I hope you enjoyed my conversation with Jessica. Reach out to her for more information or connect with her on our Facebook page for even more details on making your home safer. All of the resources and products we talked about can be found in the show notes for today's episode on girlstalkinglife.com. While you're there, be sure to sign up for the Girls Talking Life newsletter. You will get free downloadable conversation cards, and you'll have each podcast episode delivered automatically to your inbox. Friends, Jessica is also offering a 10% off discount on your Pure Haven order for the month of February. Email her directly at purebyjessica@gmail.com with the subject of Girls Talking Life Podcast to take advantage of this offer. Don't let the conversation stop when the show is over. Share your stories and start your own conversations with the girls in your life. And while you're at it, tell them about this show. Thanks so much for your support, and thanks for tuning in.